Hello and welcome to Talking Balls, the show where fans have their say. Tonight we're going to be talking about West Ham's absolute battering at the hands of Crystal Palace, Luton Town's fight for survival, another tricky weekend for those guys, and we'll also be bringing back John, a Nottingham Forest fan, who's not too happy about some of the referee decisions that happened at the weekend. So it'd be great to unpack that. Okay. First up, actually, we're going to bring on Lewis. So, Lewis, we're going to bring you on first, Luton Town fan. Lewis, how you doing?
Hello. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad.
Good. Obviously, not the best result for you guys at the weekend.
No, it wasn't. First time, I think, in a very long time, I've witnessed us give up. We don't normally perform like that, so it was quite unusual to see that happen on the weekend, because you would have thought it would have happened a lot sooner, rather than now when we're in like the business part of the season. But yeah, hopefully not another repeat of that, and the players owe us a bit of a performance after witnessing that on the weekend.
I think Luton Town are one of them teams that it's kind of everybody else in the Premier League, maybe not Forest and Everton, but most clubs in the Premier League have really kind of cheered them on and want them to stay up, because it's just that typical underdog story. Do you think that maybe, though, you've played a little bit naively in terms of coming up, trying to play the way you played in the Championship, bringing that to the Premier League?
Well, the answer to that question is, what way do you want us to play? Because Burnley have proven you can play all nice football, don't get results. I don't know what style of play you call that Sheffield United's. And then we're playing a way where it suits our strengths, which is the correct way to go about things. We've caused teams problems, and we're giving it a go. We can't defend. Doesn't matter how well we try, doesn't matter how long we put 11 players behind the ball, we can't defend. And that proof's in the pudding with that. We've tried it at the start of the season, first 10 games, the results were different, the performances were different. That's because we were putting players behind the ball, and we thought, you know what, we can't continue like this. We've got to go at teams. We've got to try and cause them problems. We start doing that, and then people think, oh, look, Luton are put a bit of fight here, and that's because might as well give it a go. You got nothing to lose here. We know we've overachieved this year. We know that if we get relegated, it's not the end of the world. We know we can rebuild and go again. Can't say the same about the clubs above us, but you know that for me, we've done the correct thing. That's the best way to get results for us. And if we didn't have an injury crisis this season, I think we would have been a lot higher in the table.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you give it a go. The games that stand out for me are the 4-4 at Newcastle, a cracking game that was, and the 4-0 demolition of Brighton, which is no easy feat. Brighton are a bloody good team. And
that's what happens when we've got a fully fit team. But we haven't had a fully fit team since then, and unfortunately, we've hit the wrong, bit of wrong form at the wrong point in the season. So with a few of them coming back now, hopefully we can get something. But yeah, something magical is hopefully going to happen in the next 4 games.
Yeah, you've got a fair run in. I think you've got a chance. So one thing I would say, I think compared to some of the run-ins that others have, you've got some winnable games there. If you keep playing like Luton do and you keep going for it, what do you think?
Yeah, I think with Wolves, with their injury crisis at the moment, they've got a massive one, and I think they're playing midweek as well. So got them this weekend. Everton, by the time we play them now, whether they be fully safe, I'm not too sure, but that's like a must win. I thought Brentford at home on the weekend just gone was a must win. That is a must win. So we've got to win that one. And then with West Ham, well, nothing looks like nothing to play for now. And then Fulham, who definitely got nothing to play for. So, you couldn't have asked for better fixtures, in my opinion. So, if we're going to do it, you need at least 2 wins, at least. 3 or 4 would be absolutely amazing. We've done worse in the past and stayed up in the lower league. So hopefully we can do it again. I know my dad always reminds me of the 80s where Luton stayed up when we were in the top division, and there were some special days. So hopefully we can, go back in the past and repeat a bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got. I don't think you've got any. None of your players have hit double figures yet. I think Carlton Morris is on 9, and Elijah. I can't remember his surname. You've got another
Yeah,
player there.
Adebayo. Yeah,
Adebayo.
he was on the verge of hitting double figures. But he's been out with a hamstring injury.
Right.
He got in the warm up against Man United, and we haven't seen him since. He's been a massive blow. But Morris has done well on his own. I have to admit, he's been an absolute warrior. Defenders hate defending against him because he causes them
Yeah.
all sorts of problems. Old fashioned striker, and he can do a bit of everything, which is really good.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of an Antonio that he's bullish. He's that old fashioned strikers. You don't get too many of them these days, but they'll just defenders hate playing against them.
Yeah, but just a little bit better on the finishing side of things.
Well, he wasn't a right back.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
We'll give him that one. I mean, is there anything, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. And as you say, probably, I think that's why a lot of people have bought into Luton, because you have gone for it. You've not sat back. But is there anything differently, apart from the injuries, that Luton could have done?
In my opinion, and it's really harsh because it is aimed towards the recruitment team and the board, which has got us to the Premier League. And without that really good recruitment team, which they do the data analytics now, they're very good at it, and it's got us this far. We should have signed more players in January. With what happened to Tom Lockyer just before that month, and then we knew about our other players in Nakamba and Brown being out for the season. We were very naive not to replace those players in January. I think everyone would have thought, yeah, we should just replace Tom Lockyer. We didn't do that. And I feel like, although no club can predict an injury crisis, and I completely understand that, but with knowing fact that players are not going to return before the end of the season, surely any short-term players come in just to help, just to fill some, fill the space and be available, could have done us a little bit better. And because we've had to overuse players, because players kept getting injured, then more and more players kept getting injured, and I feel like that's just impacted results for us. Whereas there's a few games where we should have walked away with some points. Bournemouth away, for example, we were 3-0 up at half time, but after 50 minutes, you can clearly see the players there was no fuel left in the tank. And then Bournemouth went, we're just going to go at you. And we just couldn't deal with that. But if we had players available, we were able to, rotate, we could have gone about things completely different. But without having a good January transfer recruitment, which is, it's the first time in many years, by the way. So it's definitely one mistake we've made this year. I felt we could have done a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, one of the players that you have recruited quite well and is now on a lot of people's radars is Ross Barkley. Is he somebody that, do you think you could keep him? Is he just on a 1-year deal, or is he in a longer deal but with a clause in his contract?
I think there's a clause in his contract. If we go down, he's allowed to go. I think he has signed more than a 1-year deal. I think Rob Edwards hinted that at the start of the season. So I think there's just a clause in there. If I'm being honest with you, it'd be really he would have done us a favour and we've done him a favour. So
Yeah,
it would have been one of those types of deals.
kind of like when Jesse Lingard come to West Ham, but
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to him afterwards. He just
Yeah.
absolutely died to death. But okay, great. I mean, I was surprised actually that he'd only scored 5 goals and got 4 assists, or 5 goals and 4 assists. Yeah, it feels to me like he's done a lot more, but maybe I know he scored those goals against the likes of I think City, Chelsea, some of the big games, which is maybe why I feel more.
Yeah, he's playing a lot deeper. He's not playing in his usual number 10 role, which he was known for playing it for Everton. But yeah, it's a lot deeper. I think he would have contributed a lot more if Lokonga was fit alongside him. Lokonga hasn't played the last, I think, 12 games. He managed to start on the weekend against Brentford for the first time in a long time. But Lokonga basically done all the defensive side of things. Barkley does all the attacking side of things. But without Lokonga, Barkley can't. It's not really the same player. And when you contrast when Lokonga's in and out of the team, Barkley's just not the same. So Barkley needs Lokonga as much as anything.
Yeah, and I know obviously you'll be looking to hold on to as many if you go down, you'll be looking to hold on to as many of those players. Do you think you can hold on to Rob Edwards and the job that he's done? I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, if I'm being brutally honest with you, I don't know which Premier League club would take him, because every Premier League club right now is just looking abroad. I honestly couldn't picture any club taking him. unless it's a bigger championship club that's more established and more Premier League pedigree. But apart from that, I can't. I honestly just don't see a Premier League club taking him now.
Yeah, well, fair enough, fair enough. And I'm looking at your running. As you mentioned, you've got Wolves away, Everton at home, West Ham away, and Fulham at home. How many points do you think you'll get out of those?
If we're going to stay up, we need at least 6, at least. I don't know what's going to happen with Forest. I don't know if they're going to get punished further with what they did on the weekend. Apparently, I just seen like a social media post. Apparently, that's a breach, and it's 3 to 6 points. But I don't think they're going to get deducted anything. Hopefully, that appeal doesn't get successful, because I feel like they have broken the rules and they've done it on purpose, knowing the fact that they were going to break them. It's hard. It really is, but unfortunately, it's out of our hands. Really, we've got to win the games and do the job. So hopefully 6 points, but I think we're going to need at least 7 or 8, and we're only going to have ourselves to blame because we only got 4 points against Burnley and Sheffield United this season, and
Yeah,
I feel like that's what's going to send us down, not beating the top 6 sides, because you can't like compare yourself to those teams, but beating the teams around you, you can. And yeah, I feel like dropping those amount of points against those 2 sides is a massive mistake.
I mean, if hopefully it doesn't happen, but if you do go down, do you think you'll be a team that stays down, or do you think you'll bounce back up?
I think we'll be back up in the next 5 years under our current ownership, under the plan. We need this new stadium getting built. Everton are allowed to build a new stadium despite loan interest and all this. We've had to hold off because we don't want to get punished. Yeah, they get like a slap on the wrist with their punishments, and we still paying the price because I don't think a brick's even been put down on our one yet, and our stadium was approved before Everton Stadium was. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bit of a nightmare. But I feel like with a new stadium, you're able to build, you're able to attract more, your revenue's a lot more in. And yeah, I think we could go a bit more stronger. But I feel like for our owners, it's the first time they're in the Premier League, so they would have learnt a lot. So,
Hmm.
and I feel like we may take a step back to hopefully take 2 steps forward.
Yeah. Is that new ground on the same site as Kenilworth Road, or is it somewhere else?
No, it's right. So basically, it's right next to the train station. So Luton
Hmm.
Stadium's about 20-minute walk from the train station, whereas
Wow.
the new site is literally on the doorstep of the train station, and it's like the same size of the Emirates. That's how big the land is. So it's big land.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, a lot to feel. That's cool. I mean, you just touched upon Nottingham Forest there. I'm going to bring in John on this one. Lewis, I want to keep you on because it'd be good to get your thoughts on the Everton game. Just in terms of, did you see the penalties on that one, Lewis?
Yes, I thought one of them was a clear penalty. Um, the handball is I don't know what handball is anymore. I
Hmm.
really don't, and it's not been consistent throughout the whole season. I understand why fans are annoyed, but for me, the clear one was the third one, on Hudson Odoi. That was a penalty, 100%. But I can understand the arguments for the other 2.
Yeah. John, what are your thoughts?
I can't believe he's just saying 1 out of 3, mate. No, listen, it's football subjective, isn't it? Everyone's got their own views, and that's why we love it and hate it. You know what I mean? But I can't believe that 3 weren't given. The 3 are stonewalls, and
Yeah.
the least one was the handball, because none of us understand the rule. But that's still 100% pen. And when you don't get the ball in the box and you take the player, as the other 2 were as well, they're pens. We've seen him given 15, 20 times this season already in the Premier League, and it just blows my mind that none of them are given.
And that's the problem, isn't it? It's the inconsistency. I mean, we had to West Ham. I think it was against Newcastle actually, where like a defender went to clear the ball, and then I think Anthony Gordon just put his foot in front of the player, so he kicked him because he put his foot there. He didn't have control of the ball or anything, and they were both given. And then it's that weirdness of maybe the fine lines. I think I read somewhere today that they're drilling down on it so much that it's actually creating more problems than it's solving. And look, VAR shit. I can't stand VAR. I think it's a waste of time.
See, I got a different opinion on that. So for me, the people who are making the rules in football don't have a clue about football. they shouldn't be the ones making it. That's the problem. VAR as a system and the reason they introduce like the technology in the game is actually a smart thing to do. But it only works if you've got the right people who can know how to use it properly. But because the rules are so complicated, like none of us know what the handball rule is. How do we expect below par officials across this whole country, because it's not just the Premier League, it's every level of this in England, how do we expect them to actually follow these rules if the rules are just not suitable for use right now?
I mean, the handball rule is your hands in an unnatural position. But how often do you see the defenders going up to, defend, put their hands behind their back like that? When
That's
have you
not, that's
ever
not
put
natural.
your hands in a natural position behind your back like that?
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And that's how they're taught now, because they think that by taking their arms out of the equation, it's not going to hit their arms. It might not hit their arms, but that's not natural, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, I think it was clearer before. Like if it was hand to ball, like if someone's moving their hand to it. I mean, if it hits somebody in your arms out because you're breaking a fall, or, I mean, when they're above your head, things like that. Yes, fine.
Yeah, we've seen those as well, where people put their hands up like that, and it is literally they're gaining the advantage because they've got more to block the ball with. That's clear. But what is a natural position as you're running? Everyone runs different.
John, did you see Ashley Young's tweet earlier today?
Oh yeah, I love that one. Well done, Mr. Young. Yeah, thanks, Mark, for bringing that one up, mate. Yeah, all right. And Cry Me a River. Yeah, I love that album as well. We took all the shine off that Justified album. But look, it's funny if you're an Everton fan. It's funny if you're every other team apart from Nottingham Forest. It's funny if it's not pointed at you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, well done, Ashley Young. Proud of you. The fact he got away with 3, everyone's saying, a definite penalties as well. He's right to have a good laugh at us. So he's got away with, sometimes you say someone gets away with 1, you get away with 2. He got a hat trick yesterday.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I think, after they kind of cheated their way, that was a real piss take for him to do that. I thought that was about how balled up. But
it's not the best thing, is it? But it is what it is.
So obviously, as Lewis said there, and weird. I mean, the tweet or the statement that went out, I should say, from Nottingham Forest went out pretty much straight after the game. So it was, I feel like it was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction there. And I don't think people really thought of the consequences that could come with that. Or if they did, they're nuts, because you're right. I think this could be the weirdest thing, that you could get relegated for bitching about something that is your own fault.
Yeah, I agree. But we've all been there, right? You've all had a row with the missus. You've all gone out. You've picked your phone up. You've started to text and what you really, really think in the moment. And 99 times out of 100, you think, that's not going to do us any good. Let's delete that whole text or that whole message. But someone thought, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll text this up. We'll send it up. We'll put it on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And we'll press send. And it weren't the best idea. It's embarrassing, to be honest.
It's a weird one.
But the thing is, what it is, I think it's like there's so many things that have gone against Forest this year. I think that was the last bit of like dignity that we had left. The club had left. I think appointing Clattenburg was good. It was a good idea, but I think it's ruffled too many feathers.
I don't understand what that solves, though. That doesn't solve anything. Yeah, like I understand people's point of view about getting hard done by and whatnot. I've watched my club get flipping minus 30 points in League Two.
Yeah,
cry my eyes out as a 10-year-old going to my dad, why do we keep losing every week and stuff like that? I understand that things go against you as a football club, but what you're hopeful is that it just balances itself out towards the end. You get some decisions go for you, you get some go against you. But the only way to solve this is to go at these officials, but more behind the scenes, because nothing is going to get solved by us complaining on social media. It just won't. And now I know what Forest were trying to do, but it's actually going to just backfire. It needs to happen behind the scenes, and more action needs to be done, because, well, an independent regulator also needs to come in as well, because the Emirates FA Cup, well, the whole FA side of things, shambles in themselves anyway. Football's just in a massive mess up the top, and it's just going to get worse unless a regulator comes in.
But I get exactly what you're saying, Lou, and to a point, I pretty much agree with you. But I think Forest have tried to do it the dignified way. You know, we've kind of tried to like be not discreet in our complaints, but you know, accept them and hope that at the end of the season they're going to balance themselves out. And we, like you, Lou, we're in a relegation dogfight with the two teams that we support and we love. You know, and time is running out now for both of us, really. Whichever way you look at it, you know, we've got 4 games left, and one of our teams is probably going to go down. You know, because I can't see Everton getting dragged back into it now after the win on Sunday. Forest aren't going to get any points at the weekend against City. You know, we're fighting for every single point. And when you see 3 bad decisions in one game, you know, 3 bad decisions in one game, when it's against the team that are just above you by 1 point. I think it was the frustration that just got the better of everyone, and it is embarrassing. But I kind of get why someone pressed send, if you know what I mean.
For me, I think the owner did it because he's a nut job anyway. And if you actually look at the timing of the tweet as well, it was definitely like pre-planned. It was like, as soon as the final whistle went, bang, send.
But again, he's done like I said, he's done what we all did. He's prepped it. He's thought, should I? Shouldn't I? And he's pressed send. And as soon as he's pressed send, it's like that moment in Naked Gun where everyone just slaps their head at the same time, you know, and it's like, oh, really? You know, and it is what it is. Just gonna have to wear it for a little while, aren't we?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the first time somebody's going to sue VAR. Like, if you go down, this will be when it's tested. I don't know how it's going to happen, but Nottingham Forest owner is that nutty that he will find a way to sue VAR. But and I don't know what's going to happen, what the outcome is, but I can just see that happening.
You know, he should be like quite lucky in himself, because I know it's the past, but Huddersfield were hard done by in that playoff final. And they should have had a penalty. Where I think it was clear as day, and it was very similar to the incidences yesterday as well. They're on the verge of going to League One. You know, look at the difference in that. And they, you know, you referenced the West Ham Newcastle game. That penalty decision which Newcastle got changed the whole momentum of that match. Imagine if Huddersfield got that penalty and they scored. That would have changed probably the momentum in that playoff final, and who knows who would have gone up there. So like, he's got to be really careful, because you can the arguments that you may not have even be a Premier League team. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. But the thing is as well, every single week, every single team has something to moan about VAR.
Yeah.
And it was brought in to make the game easier to understand. It was brought in to make the game clearer, and mistakes shouldn't be happening like this. You know, even down to the Man U game yesterday. You know, the VAR, it was a right decision, but it's robbed us of one of the greatest cup upsets that you or I will ever probably see. Coventry are 3-0 down. You know, they've clawed their way back to 3-0, and then in the 122nd minute, get a win up. Now, who didn't want to see that as the winning goal?
Yeah, everybody.
I mean, my boy Mitchell supports Man U, and he wanted, you know, he was like, take, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
that's why I believe we need like an appeal system like you have in tennis and cricket, where teams have the right to appeal. So no one gets involved. You stick with every time you stick with the on-field referee decision. And then if you want to appeal, you do it when you feel like it's right to do it. And the captain has to do it, or whatever way they do it. Because I guarantee you that Man United, that Coventry goal, no United player would have appealed. I don't think United would have appealed it. But then Forest yesterday would have appealed those penalties, and then they would have had no choice. You would have had to have looked at the VAR. So we need to take back control of it all.
But when you look at when the Coventry goal went in, about 4 or 5 of the Man U players just sunk to their knees.
Yeah, because they knew
it was a good goal, you know. But then you take it back, and it's like a toenail.
Yeah, I mean, VAR ruined football. You know, it ruined football yesterday. It was it was one of them games everyone wanted to win.
But certain technology is really good for football. The goal line, with the ball over the line, and it sets the ref's watch off. Perfect. Because there's been so many times, like when Lampard against Germany, the ball was clearly over. Linesman didn't see it. On another day, if that technology had been there then, the goal line works perfectly. Got no problem with that. I think they've just tried to do too much too soon. and implement VAR. It's just not worked. And this has got to be the worst season that I can remember. It's been going a couple of years now, isn't it? It's not the first year, is it?
No.
Not the first year, but this is all we're ever talking about is VAR. In the office at work, when you go for a drink down the pub, on Sunday morning football, which I do, all we're talking about is VAR. It's just so draining.
Yeah, weirdly, I stopped watching Match of the Day because it just got VAR all the time. Now I just watch the highlights of the games individually on YouTube. That's all it. Post match was just VAR, referee decisions. It's like, okay,
but
come
Sky
on.
Sports have got Ref Watch now.
Yeah, you guys don't have to work on that. I do. That's my job.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I work for Sky.
Blame you, then.
Yeah, that's my job. I have to
we're
work
blaming you. Then get them off VAR, though. Have a word with Lineker and Shearer and get them off VAR.
That's why you love VAR. So it keeps you in the job.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's the football rules, though. Like if every other country uses VAR better than we do.
Yeah.
But the whole football, though, the rules are just stupid. They are backwards. And I just want to point out as well, at the start of the season, the Premier League denied. So in the World Cup, I don't know if you guys remember, they used a certain offside technology.
Yeah.
I forgot what the official terminology of it is called, but the Premier League denied that at the start of the season. Now they're saying for next season they're going to reintroduce it.
Yeah.
But why did they deny it at the start of the season? They would have been provided a lot of help, and that was just for offside decisions.
Mm.
Yeah, that was good. That's the one where it kind of like created a wall, wasn't it? And you could see someone's walk through it. Yeah, that was really good.
It was like superimposed computer-generated players, wasn't it, in their positions? Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked really well.
That's going to come next year, so hopefully a little bit better. But still, the rules are just not. They need to be improved. I don't understand what Howard Webb's job is, because that's surely got to be one of the main responsibilities, is to make it a bit more clearer.
Yeah. John, what do you think the repercussions will be for Forest?
Well, it depends. I mean, we're asking the league to give us points back, and then we've just gone on and slagged off one of their referees and their VAR appointment. So, I mean, it's like cheating on your missus and then asking her to say, well, it wasn't really that bad, was it? You know what I mean? And
it was only a kiss.
It was just your best friend, So, I think we could get hit with a couple of points and then that'd be it. It'll be out of our hands and it'll be over to Luton and see what they do.
Yeah, I don't actually want to stay up because of point deductions. I would actually like to stay up because we're actually good enough. So
you'd like to stay up on goal difference, mate. All right, don't give me that. All right, you stay up on one goal difference like I would over Luton, mate.
John, if you were to go down,
yeah,
obviously after selling Morgan Gibbs White to West Ham, do you think you could bounce straight back up?
I'd probably cry for about 6 months, and it depends. It depends, mate. The Championship, we've been there before.
It's brutal, isn't it?
Been there before. We've been there for 20 odd years. Dropped down to Division 1. It's the toughest league in the world. I think the Championship to get out of, and you can have you can go down on second season. Look at Huddersfield. We beat them in the playoff, and then the next season I think they got really close to being relegated or relegated. You know what I mean? So I think it's all about your recruitment and what you buy. The only good thing about if it happens is we'll have a parachute payment for 3 years. I believe it's still going for 3 years. Yeah, and we would have to cash in on some of our bigger players like Morgan Gibbs White. And I'd hate to see him leave because he's my favourite player, but
bring him over.
It is what it is. It's part of football, and the football team will have to evolve and grow again, and come back again, and bring back Steve Cooper.
Well, funny enough, Steve Cooper, I saw today, was in the running for had odds to be joining West Ham as part of the ridiculous long list that we've got as potential West Ham managers, but I can't see that.
He'd do well for you. He's a good manager, but I think when we chatted last week, Mark, Nuno is taking us forward. Even if he takes us down, and he stays, I think he'll get us back up again.
Yeah, cool. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to bring on Mikey, our West Ham fan, next. But thank you both very much for your thoughts, and good luck to you both. It'll be very interesting. It's more interesting than the title race now. I think it's much closer.
No, I think it'll be last game of the season.
Oh, don't do that.
Forest on goal difference.
Oh, no. Just hurt.
It's pain, mate. I've been there. It's pain, and you've been
there. I've seen too many in my lifetime. I don't want any more.
But the thing is, we'll still come back and do it again.
Yeah.
You never know if the if Man City actually get that relegation for this ridiculous points, he might both stay up.
Oh, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
God, I'm more
Not
likely
gonna
to
happen,
become
though,
a
is it?
millionaire than that happening. God.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine Pep in Division 2.
Yeah, God.
All right, gents, thank you very much. I will catch you soon.
Good lad. Cheers, Mark.
Cheers.
Nice one, Lou.
Okay, next up, Mikey, our West Ham fan. Right, I'm going to start. Mike, do you know it's the first time I've had another West Ham fan on, so I'm buzzing that I can actually get to vent.
It's therapy now.
Yeah, it's kind of what it is, mate. Kind of what it is. So, what are your thoughts on that absolute shower of shit that happened yesterday?
Sure, two things. Luckily, I was at work, but there was a TV in the background where I saw most of the goals, but I didn't really know what the score was going on. I just knew we were getting battered. But luckily, no one at work knew I was a West Ham fan. I just kept to myself. I'm just not speaking up. But the other point was that I wasn't surprised at the score. I wasn't surprised at all, because we've seen it about 4 or 5 times this season by big teams like Liverpool and Arsenal, or by teams like around us, sort of like Fulham and Palace. Like we've seen it multiple times, approaching games the same way and expecting different results. The definition of insanity.
Yeah, I mean, you could have seen all of those 4 goals in your tea break. They come so thick and fast. Unfortunately, it was. I was sitting there with my son. I was just like, "This isn't happening." I mean, I was looking back through the results, and I mean, for West Ham, spankings are unfortunately not a one-off anymore. And I know that Moyes keeps saying, "Well, you know, we have these off games," but we conceded 5 against Fulham, 5 against Liverpool, 6 against Arsenal, 5 against Palace, and 4 against Villa. Now, I know there's some good teams in there, but he's supposed to be a defensive manager. So where's it going wrong for Moyes?
Honestly, where's it going right? I think that's a real question. Like, the fact that if you've got more attacking talent than defensive talent, but you choose to be a defensive manager and relying on defenders that can't constantly invite pressure, then this is the kind of results that you get. And also, if you approach the same games the same way, this is also what you're going to get. He's approaching Man City at home the same way he'll approach Everton at home. Like, we've seen multiple games where it's the same game plan multiple times. Like, even in a game where, for example, let's say it was like Palace at home when we drew 1-1, we was doing fine at the start, and then Mavropanos makes a mistake and we concede. But then what's the game plan to then go and get another goal? Because once we go a goal up, we just sit back. And a defensive football can only really work if your defense is guaranteed to not concede most of the time. Because if you concede and you're still inviting pressure, you got to eventually come out, then your whole game plan is gone. And I feel like that's what we've seen for most of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting when I'm talking about the Man United Coventry game. You know, they were 3-0 down, and then they started to play. Mm-hmm. When West Ham go down, Moyes then brings on 2 defenders, like he did at the weekend, and you just think, "What are you doing, man?" It's like it's damage limitation when you're 4-0 down after 30 minutes. It blows my mind. I know we've got the thinnest, oldest squad in the Premier League, but that's Moyes' fault because he doesn't want to sign anyone. I was looking back at the stats actually. So when he took over in his first season, his first full season, we conceded 47 goals. In his second one, it was 51 goals. After that, it was 55. And now we're already at 63. We've still got Liverpool, Chelsea, Luton, and Man City to play. So that's probably going to be 70. He's not a defensive manager, is he?
No, he's not. He's not. He's not what he thinks he is either. And the thing is, we're talking about squads and old squads and stuff. He also said about Leverkusen, about Xabi Alonso, about him having more options off the bench, but also wanting a small squad. It doesn't make any sense. So what do you want? Like, which one of the ones do you want? We saw what happened against Leverkusen. I think in the first leg, you gave one of the best teams in possession in world football right now all of the ball, and you saw exactly what happened. They are known for scoring late, and they eventually scored 2. And then we pressed them in the second leg. We gave it our all, and fans clapped because that's what they want to see. Not even necessarily just because of the football, but because of the effort and the fact that we felt like we left everything out there. Like we didn't give them an inch. Alonso took one of his centre backs off. He made a centre back change. Like he changed his centre back for another centre back to be better on the ball, and it worked. And he forced Alonso into making substitutions, but Alonso has the privilege of bringing substitutions on because he probably demanded a squad of that size. Moyes doesn't want to demand a squad of that size, and we have such a mishmash of profiles because he claimed a couple years ago on, I think it was Jake Humphrey's podcast, that he's an attacking manager. So then he decides to buy attacking players like Skamaka Pakistan or whatever, and gets Mark Warburton as a coach, who played attacking football at QPR or whatever. And then we try to play attacking football, even though it just looks, we played the exact same system, the exact same players, didn't integrate anyone in. We're trying to get the same players that played a different style of football in the previous season to play something different the next season. And then we go back to type. And then the players that we bought in that summer, don't fit us anymore. Like, none of it makes any sense. If he had just stuck maybe with the counter-attacking football that he had, none of this might have been a problem in the first place.
Yeah, I think the problem we have with our counter-attacking football now, I think, is that Zuma's knees have absolutely gone.
Yeah.
Mavropanos has just got way too many mistakes in him. I'm not a fan of him at all. Kufau is okay. Emerson's, when he's injured, he's a bit injury prone. And obviously Areola's out. So we're really struggling in defence. I think when you look at our defence, we probably need a whole new back four.
Yeah.
I'd say we definitely need four. We need a left winger. We don't have. We need two strikers. Moyes is a striker killer. The problem is now, if you're a striker thinking West Ham are looking to sign me, it's like, well, absolutely killed Skamaka, killed Haller.
Yep.
Like, these are great players that you just couldn't get a tune out of, because
Danny Ings
can't get a sniff.
No.
It's terrible. I don't know who we're going to buy.
That's the thing as well. Like, everyone moans at the strikers that play up front for West Ham, no matter who it is. But over the years, we've seen that Mikel Antonio is the only one that's ever fitted what Moyes is trying to do with us. Like, just a guy who runs down the channels, is a bully, drifts out on the left. And Skamaka is not going to do that. Even Antonio said it himself. Antonio said it himself that Skamaka doesn't fit this system that Moyes wants to do. Like, and it doesn't surprise anyone. It shouldn't surprise anyone that players that are meant to do well at West Ham don't do well, but then go and do well at other clubs, because it's not just because of a different league, different club. It's because they have a whole system that's based around the players that they actually want. But Moyes doesn't have a plan B. His plan B is bringing on defenders. He did it against Fulham as well. When we got battered, he changed to a 3, and then we conceded 2 more goals. So what difference did it make? We could have just tried and gone for it. It's like he's the same manager that brought that Tottenham comeback where we were 3 goals down at halftime, and we drew 3-3 in the end. And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. He's like damage limitation, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think he's definitely lost it. I'd say we're talking to Lewis earlier just around Carl Morris. I think Carl Morris is the kind of striker that I think Moyes would want, because he's an Antonio type. He's strong. He's bullish. You know, he doesn't give up. He's that kind of older, doesn't conserve his energy. That's why Antonio blows after 60 minutes. He just runs around like a nutter.
He does.
Trying to chase down players, which is great when you're trying to press high. You know, he's perfect for that. But yeah, he's just a weird one. So what do you think? Are you a Moyes in or Moyes out?
I'm definitely Moyes out. I've been Moyes out for a while, but I'm one of these people that I feel like I can appreciate what a man's done for the club, but also be like, it's time to go. Like, I think it's simple as that. I don't deny his legendary status or anything like that. I don't deny he's given me the best time of my life as a West Ham fan, but I also think that it's gone fairly stale. And I feel like anyone that watched us will understand what we mean. Unfortunately, you got to watch West Ham to understand what we mean, because anyone would just look at random stats on the league table to be like, well, it's not that bad. But as we've gotten to this part of the season, and the people that are Moyes in now are running out of stuff to say. They're running out.
Yeah. It's funny, and this is something I got a lot of stick for saying this, actually, Mike. It'd be good to get your take on it. For me, the Europa Conference League is a Mickey Mouse Cup, and I don't really attach any great value to it. But that kept Moyes in his job. Now, I have a lot of people going, well, that gave West Ham's a European trophy. It doesn't matter who you play against, but you're playing against clubs which have got the same kind of size and stature of Accrington Stanley and League Two clubs. When you go through all of the attendances, apart from Fiorentina, there's one other that had the same stadium size as a Championship club. There was a lot of crap there. So I think Villa will go and smash it. I think it's a competition for Premier League clubs to have a day out. I don't really think it's worthy. It's not like the one we're in now where we got found out, although it was Leverkusen. But for me, I just think that saved his job, and that's why I wasn't happy that we actually won that trophy, because I knew we'd just be suffering with more Moyes ball this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I like the cup because I just wanted to see us win something, like, and that was it pretty much. But um, I appreciate the competition for what it is, just because, like, if you're in it, you might as well go and win it. But I agree with you on the fact that as soon as we won it, and once we settled into the summer transfer window, I was very angry on the fact that we left it until August to sign all these players, and then I kind of knew what the vibe of the season was going to be like. Yeah, fair enough, it's a bit higher in terms of league position and what I thought it was going to be. I think I predicted something like 13th at the start of the season. But
Mhm.
if you look at how the league is now with the teams around us, they're just as inconsistent as us. They're just as got as many problems as us. That like Brighton, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United. Like none of these teams are that consistent as it is. They've got their own problems, and and any ambitious club would have been like, well, you let the manager end on a high. Then we can see it was going wrong in the league. We can see that the fact that the reason why we won it is because we were way better in terms of squad than the other teams in the competition. We go and do something new with our new technical director, but we've waited until the contract expires. That's what Sullivan like. He doesn't want to pay compensation, and maybe he might pay compensation for Amorim then. But he's decided to just wait until David Moyes' contract expires just to make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that you predicted they could finish 13th. We're only 6 points off that, mate. So, you know, that could come true. It's too early to say yet. So you absolutely never know.
Honestly.
You talked about managers there. I know, I think somebody said that he's flown in, but to be honest, lately, we're not going to get him, are we? Who do you think we're really going to get?
I have no idea. That's the thing. I have no idea. What will let me know if how this club is serious if we have a manager in advance already, and we're letting Tim Steiner do it. If and we'll know by the appointment who is making the decision. If it's someone like a Lopetegui, we know it's Sullivan that's doing this because he's been linked with us before. He was linked with us before Tim Steiner was here. Someone like a Fonseca, I've heard good things about. I don't watch Lille though. A lot of people are saying he's decent. I don't know, but I'll be very surprised if we get Amorim. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of positivity today, but I don't get drawn into that stuff. I just dream, But I have no clue who we're going to get. Literally none, because this club is so unpredictable sometimes.
Yeah, I can tell you. I know Unai Emery's agent actually. And Unai Emery was offered to West Ham twice. We've turned him down twice, and the reason that he told me is because Sullivan doesn't want a foreign manager. He's got so burnt with Pellegrini. He said he just doesn't want it. So that's for me why I think it will be a real tough thing for us to get someone that high caliber. I can see it being a Potter. Do you know what I can actually see it being? And this would be so West Ham. It'd be Mark Noble because he'll keep West Ham fans just happy enough at the beginning of the season, but will be relegation fodder at the end, and he'll be a free. I can see that happening. It would drive me nuts, but weirdly, I can just see it'd be so West Ham.
It wouldn't. The funny thing is, it wouldn't surprise me. I think my only hope now is the fact that there would have been no point appointing a technical director if he wasn't going to make his own decision. The thing is, if it was Mark Noble or any ex-player at this club, the problem will be now is we'll have the same as other teams that have had ex-players. That he gets it. It will be their defense of him, but he's not a manager. The guy is there just to be in the background to link the academy towards the first team and be in the background and scout sometimes. Mark Noble, even when before he was retiring and stuff, people like future West Ham manager. For what? For what? He's not going to be a manager. We don't need to do all this sentiment stuff because that doesn't last in football. That doesn't last. My only thing with the whole foreign manager thing is that obviously everything before Moyes was done by agency, whether it's transfers or manager. Now with Tim Steiner at the helm, we'll see if Sullivan has really taken a step back from the whole footballing side, which I don't know. I have no idea. I just don't get drawn into it. I like what Tim Steiner is there for, but if he's not going to have the ability, have the freedom to hire the manager, then there was no point even having him in the first place.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I think that it's a three-way pull for any players. It just seems to be Moyes versus just Dagan versus the board, who I think we all know have chosen their own players anyway. So yeah, it's a really weird mix there. I don't know. And okay, I'm 46, so I've seen a lot of managers come and go through West Ham, but I don't think any manager, I can't remember any manager that's divided the fans as much as Moyes has. He's been he's turned the West Ham fans, I would say, a little bit poisonous. And if you're on as you are on the West Ham forums and listen to other channels as well, there's a lot of kind of hate and people against each other.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Like, it's actually probably the most this fan base has been in agreement now under Moyes after that Palace game. I don't know why it's taken for the Crystal Palace game for people to see what others have been seeing. I've been watching other channels, and even like people that are Moyes in and now Moyes out, even like, but everyone's like so frustrated. But people always look at us like, why are you frustrated? Well, if you watched us, you'll know. And in my lifetime, like, the first time I went West Ham was under Avram Grant. And it's ever since then, I don't think there's been more divide. I think everyone was very unanimous in most of the opinions of the manager. There was a bit of a divide under Allardyce. There was a bit of a divide in Bilic, but not as much in Moyes because of sentiment for me. Mainly sentiment. It's not most of people's arguments for Moyes is mainly sentiment and past achievements and just stats that they're not, and instead of actually what they're seeing in the games, rather than actually, like, if they just commented on, well, I think he's doing this correctly, I think he's using this player well, I think he's using that player well, I think all of this stuff on the pitch, if they use on the pitch reasons, then I would get it. But they're not. They're just using past achievements to try and justify their point in the present, and the past has nothing to do with the present in football.
Yeah, it's time to go. I think we all agree it's time for Moyes to just jog on and do one now.
Yep, honestly.
Mikey, I'm going to get your thoughts, just coming back to Lewis and John there. Who are your thoughts for relegation? Just before I get you to answer that, I'm just going to share one of the comments there. Sheffield United, Burnley and Luton are all gone in Boy in Blue podcast's thoughts. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with it. And the problem I have is I hope the Premier League have made their decision about the points deductions with Everton and Forest before the season ends. If it still carries on after the season ends, that's just disgraceful. Because you've got to make a decision before the season ends. What are the fan bases meant to do in the relegation battles? Like, I think all three promoted teams will definitely go. I think it's been like that for a while. As much as I rate Luton for what they're doing, we're giving it a go and stuff. Burnley and Sheffield United have made their own mistakes. Really, it's their own fault for why they're there.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. Right, gents, Lewis and John, I'm going to bring you back in. I've got just a few questions, just 5 quick fire questions here. Just love to get your thoughts on. I'm just going to bring these up here. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 players, and I want us to try and come to a decision who's out of these 3 who is the most unlikable. So we've got Bruno Fernandes, Anthony, or Ashley Young. I think I know one person who's going to say Ashley Young.
Right, actually, I'm going to say Anthony because I absolutely hate him.
I'm going Bruno.
Yeah,
Bruno, Lewis, so you going with on that one?
Yeah, Anthony. The way he reacted to the Coventry fans yesterday was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a prat. Absolute prat to do that against a lower league team that you have scraped by. Was just low. I think he's just an idiot.
Yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes, for me, not even just because of the fouls, I think he's very heavily overrated by Man United fans, in my opinion. Just hyped up to be every time Man United sign a new player, they're hyped up to be the best in the world and world class instantly. And I think Bruno Fernandes doesn't help himself with some of his antics, to be quite honest.
Actually, can I go back on that? Because I just remembered the tweet that Ashley Young put out.
Yeah, I thought you'd say, I've even put the CD in his hand for you, John. Look.
Yeah, I was just, no.
I did that just for you, mate. You're welcome.
Thanks,
Okay, next question. Okay, we're going to see who the best manager is. Now, I've taken Pep, Arteta, and Klopp out of the equation here. You got Unai Emery, Eddie Howe, Ange. Who would you, if it was your club, who would you like to have as a manager?
I like the way that Ange puts himself about. And I think he's going to turn Tottenham into a bit of a force in the next 4 or 5 years. So I'll take Ange on that one, guys.
I think if Ange is back to you could really build something at Tottenham. The problem is with Tottenham is, well, do they really back their managers to the fullest? Probably not. I think out of these 3, I'd say Unai Emery. I like all 3 of them, but Unai Emery, he's shown in past seasons with other teams before what he can do and what he's capable of, and I think he's doing really well with Villa.
Yeah, I'm the same with Unai Emery. I can't rate Ange enough because of what he's done outside the Premier League, you know, being in Asia and stuff. I haven't got enough knowledge in that department, but Unai Emery, what he's done, I think he doesn't get enough credit.
But don't you love Angie's post-match comments and post-match interviews? They're brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if
And
that's just for the
pre-match,
cameras,
they're fantastic to watch.
He's just himself as well.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
you do well at a bigger club than Tottenham as well.
Same.
You know, I think it's one of them. Unlike Arteta, when I watch Arteta's post match, you just like, oh, turn off, boring.
Yeah,
There's some managers that you just switch off, and Ange isn't like that. There's not enough characters in the game, so I like Ange.
definite character.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is the worst manager. Which manager would you
here we
not
go.
sponsor at your club? Ten Hag, Poch, or Moisey?
Oh.
That's a tough one.
You know what? Even as much as I've complained about Moyes this season, some of the stuff I see Ten Hag do, some of it's just ridiculous. Like when I watch Man United, I don't know, like just structurally the way they look on the pitch. Like sometimes they don't even have a midfield. But I would say Moyes, he hasn't gone to still has a higher level that Poch and Ten Hag has.
I'm going Ten Hag for Mitchell because he absolutely hates him.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the United boss. Every time I watch United play, I don't know what their style of play is. Whereas with Moyes and Poch, you know what they've done stuff in their career. With him, I can't quite work it out.
Yeah, I think anyone who's come from Ajax and takes Anthony over Kudus as well.
Yeah.
He's no idea what he's doing.
He hasn't even got a plan A, let alone a plan B.
No.
It's strange. I speak to a Man fan earlier, and I was just saying that the two players he wanted to get rid of were McTominay and Harry Maguire, who probably are two of their better players. Certainly McTominay.
Absolutely.
It's been really
McTominay's
good.
their second highest goal scorer, I think. And Harry Maguire's been playing pretty well for him. He tried to get him out, but he just couldn't fit him through the door at West Ham, could he?
No,
No,
I'd take them
Maguire
both.
didn't want to come.
No.
Needed him. Okay, next one. Who are the biggest overachievers? Brighton sat in 10th. Luton in
obvious
18th.
answer here. Yeah,
Well,
I'm saying us because we've got a mid-table championship team, and the fact that we're still in for a shout of staying up, and we've got 4 games remaining in the Premier League season is just unreal. And if we do stay up, and it's without any point deduction help, Rob Edwards deserves manager of the season. To do it on our budget is just incredible. Literally, we still got League 2 players. Still got League 2 players. So what does that tell you?
I agree. Yeah, I agree to a degree. But I think up until about the past month, Villa's been there or thereabouts and could have really pushed on, but they've dropped down a bit. But I do like the Luton manager and the Luton team as well. So as long as they, I don't know. As long as they don't stay up over points, but if they have to stay up, they have to stay up. It is what it is, isn't it? But yeah,
I also think Brighton have taken a step back this season.
Yeah,
They are, yeah.
Yeah, I still think
I
they
think-
punch above their weight, but yeah, I think that you're probably right that one. I was struggling for the third, I must admit.
to be honest, you know what I said to Mark last week as well, and you'll agree with me. Luton and Forest being new teams up into the Prem, we're exactly where we should be. We should be dancing around with relegation. We're not going to come in and hit top 6, top 10, even top 15. You know, so any manager that keeps a newly promoted team in the Premier League, like Cooper did last year for Forest, deserves all the credit they get.
Yeah, I have to agree with Luton being probably the biggest overachievers because I expected somewhat of a big European push from Aston Villa at the start of the season. I didn't expect 4th, but I think with Luton, I think they were written off the most probably at the start of the season. So they're definitely the biggest overachievers.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think what Emery's done at Villa has been fantastic. I wouldn't have pegged, same as you, Mikey, I wouldn't have pegged them 4 because I probably would have said top 10, maybe top 8 to get to full volley. Watkins obviously had the season of his life, so that helps. But if Luton survive, he's got to be in with the shout for manager of the year. So they're going for it.
So he's not going to get manager of the year then.
No. Good looking manager of the year, but not best manager.
Okay, which club has the worst fans?
It's easy.
City.
Tottenham.
Yeah.
No bias at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tottenham, very easy. I think they're bigger than they are.
I'm
Simple.
going with Tottenham as well all day long.
It's a
Always
shock.
chirping up. Always chirping up. 1-0. John?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to skip this one.
Don't upset me.
I don't upset you, Mark, and I don't want to set my mate Bill, who supports Tottenham, and I've got no love for Man City, so probably Man City, because they expect to be there, but they're always there and thereabouts, but they're going to smash us at the weekend, so it doesn't really matter.
Lewis?
Yeah, I'm going with City. When they went top of the league against us, they had a half an empty stadium. I know it's against Luton, but if you just go top of the league, surely you want to celebrate with the team and, and create a bit of an atmosphere. It's an half-empty stadium as well. Not for me. And a tweet went out recently that a Luton fan called Man City just basically Saudi with like an MK Dons franchise with Saudi money.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, spot on. Without the money, they're not where they are.
I can tell there's no comment come up, so I think typical Man City fan John, the Boys in Blue podcast, must be grabbing a cup of tea. So I'll close that one down, not upset him. But chaps, thank you very much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Good luck with the run in, Mikey. Let's good luck. We get a good manager. Come on,
Yeah,
please.
hopefully.
Yeah, have a great evening, everyone. I will be back here next Monday, 8:00. So do catch us. And if you want to come on to the show, that we're always up for having new guests. So please feel free to drop us a message and we'll get you back on.